Actually, you know what? Stay on the phone because you seem to, I mean, whichever you want, but because I really want to understand this because, you know, and again, so everybody, I'm on the phone with Alex. That's why I'm a little late to the class. We're going over how to search and how not to search. And what Alex, what I'm trying to understand is when you found this property, what was your search criteria that brought you to this property in Camden?
Because I think the price was right.
No. If you so yes or no, you found this property in Batch Leads or you found this property on Zillow?
I think it's Zillow, if I'm not mistaken.
So why are you searching Zillow to find properties that are worth buying? What's your logic in starting with what's advertised as your tool source?
Because I think the good price. That's the only reason why I went on Zillow.
You saw the good price when you found the property. What were you searching on Zillow to find this property in Camden that came up with that good price?
Because I wanted to see if I could make an offer, and I want to see if the property work.
You didn't. Okay, you're telling me what you're doing after you found the property. How did you find the property? What was the search you put into Zillow to land on this property? You can't go to Zillow and type, give me a property, and it's going to end up with that property.
I was searching for another different property that I had, and then that property had at the bottom of Zillow, it was there, so I had clicked on it.
All right, so here's the thing. Why are you searching on Zillow for properties? And well, actually, no, better question. When you were searching on Zillow for properties, what was your criteria? What was the search you put into Zillow?
Let's put New Jersey.
So I'm going to go to Zillow right now, and I'm going to put in New Jersey. And then what? You sorted by price?
Yes.
Okay.
I was looking at another property. I seen that under the property I was looking at.
All right. So, what is your lot? What? What?
I don't understand like the batch leads, like how to get the phone number or get in contact with the person who's selling the property. So that's the only reason why I went on Zillow.
Okay, so here's the thing. All right, so here's the. I will redo. I'll find and resend you, or you can look into YouTube, which would be much easier. I have the how to find addresses and phone numbers. We have the skip trace tool. Right. But I'm taking a step back. I'm taking a step back right now. You went to Zillow to search for properties to buy, and you gave New Jersey as your criteria.
Yes, to make offers.
Okay. Except none of that is how we teach it to happen. And none of that's going to get you what you want to know.
All right.
And you can't say, all right. We spent weeks trying to I'm trying to help you make a deal. That's the thing. And Zillow is not your place to start. Because you're just saying New Jersey, show me everything in New Jersey, and then you're picking the lowest price properties. Except the lowest price isn't what we want. The lowest difference between well, first of all, we don't want something advertised. So we don't want something with a price at all. That's the most important part. This other property you were going after on Zillow, was it advertised?
Was it advertised? Yes.
Okay. And I got to ask everybody, what's our rule about properties that are advertised? Okay, so the property that you went after was advertised. What told you that advertised price was a huge discount?
Because I see it was $90K.
Okay, that's a certain number. $90K out my way is not a low price. $90K in the shooting gallery of Newark is not a low price. So my point here, Alex, is that you went to Zillow, which doesn't have any of the search capabilities. I know I've sent you the videos on how to search batch leads and how to put in the search criteria, how to put in the motivators and everything else, absentee owner, vacant, Zillow doesn't have any of that. Zillow and advertised properties we've learned, and I keep repeating this, if it's advertised, we probably don't want it. Because he's already getting all the calls for people who are looking for under $100,000 properties in Camden. Everybody that wants that house has already seen that house. If we get it at like 30 grand, do we have room? But here's the thing, and please jump on the video at this point. You've got to start either use the data we provide and pay for, because we've already done that hard work of determining what might be reasonable places to look and why. Or second choice, talk to me about where you want to search, and let's use the proper tool, batch leads, to find the properties you want to call, and call them in a fast, rapid pace. Don't go and let me research this property and let me think about it. And if you're going to research a property, be able to tell me what its comparables are selling for. Alex, I'm not upset at all. You're the one who's wasting time on these properties. All right, I'm gonna jump on the video. If you got time, jump on the video. Let's try to cover this a little bit, and we'll go from there. All right, bye-bye. Hey, sorry about that, guys. There you still around?
Yep.
Yeah. So I figured putting that on speakerphone and jumping in here, because Alex and I were talking. I realized it got a little bit late, but so here's the situation he's having, and this is a very common situation. I don't know how to. If you guys can tell me how, I don't know how to fix it, because he doesn't want to call the data. He doesn't want to, whatever, which is fine. You don't want to go where we're geographically where we're pointing you. That's totally fine. But the challenge people have is, well, I saw this on Facebook Marketplace. I can think of 2 deals my entire career that I got off Facebook Marketplace since 2020. 3 before that, but 2 since 2020. Back in 2008, it was like shooting fish in a barrel. I could get them off Marketplace. I can get them off MLS. They were everywhere. But recently, it's not that way. So the reality here is, and then I do want to talk about your property there, Nair, the new one.
Okay.
The reality here is that you're not going to find, and I just want to make sure I save this down, because it still hasn't run its analysis. Okay, that's why I'm seeing that. Okay, so I'm in the middle of an analysis. I just don't want it to time out on me. All right, so skip citywide towing recovery, extraction failed. Okay, so it got most of it done. All right, so this is our new AI analyzer tool, and I'm just having to run that. So here's the thing, guys. You're not going to find a deal on Facebook Marketplace or any advertising methodology. You might be able to find it. I can show you ways of maybe. But there's a trick to it, like searching things that have been on the market for more than 90 days, more than 120 days, more than 100 and whatever days, bigger days. That will help you find people who are maybe more tired of selling or tired of waiting for a sale. But that's not the best way to do it. The best way to do it is to pick a market or a category. Like Nair has substantially switched from residential, let's make this set of phone calls, to self-storage. Let's learn the criteria for self-storage, and let's start looking for self-storage. And that's been working out so far pretty good. By the way, Nair, on that Fresno one, we have his documentation, such as it is, and it pretty much backs up everything he said. It's very hard to tell, because we're buying one of his 3 facilities, and the other 2, when he ran his rent roll, everything is labeled as that location. So when I first got it, he says he makes 80 grand a year, and it told me 130. And like, at first I was like, woohoo, he screwed up by a lot. And then I realized, no, he probably has them mixed in.
But, so they're like blended, which kind of threw the numbers on.
Yeah, for his tax reasons and his software reasons. And I don't think it has to be that way, but whatever. That's the way these small owners go. Oh, and let me forget, we do want to get back to the stoners in Montana. Maybe you can come up with an answer on that one.
I don't know, because they listed that one.
Oh, they listed it?
Yeah, I was scrolling through the groups, doing some research, and the same thing popped up from a realtor named Danielle Moore, who's very prominent in the group.
Oh, they put with Danielle, so she told me a huge number.
Yeah.
I know Danielle. She's going to tell him a story.
Yeah. So I don't
All
know how
right,
you
so
want to
we'll move
handle it.
on. I mean, Danielle's a good broker. She might get him sold at that number, but the discounts go away once you start dealing with Danielle.
Oh, okay. All right.
But anyway, so we came up with so basically, whether you're doing a category of business like self-storage or commercial, or you're doing geography, it's a volume game either way. You know, Nair can tell you he's running ads and putting posts and following up with a lot of people and making some cold phone calls. And then he's still gotten, I think we've talked to like 5 people in the last 2 weeks. Only one has become an actual workable deal that we hope we're expecting to close on. But you know, still, that's not bad for 2 weeks to have one under contract. That's pretty awesome. So like you can do that. But Alex's model and a lot of people's model, and Will, I need to follow up with Will, but Alex's model is a little bit more haphazard, and that's unfortunately what I see too often. Is and that's why I kind of put this on speakerphone for a moment. Is I'm just going to log into something else. I want to look at something real quick. Alex's model is more go to Zillow, see what's there. I want to look in New Jersey. I look at lowest price first, and he's trying to find the phone number for this guy, this particular owner. So instead of calling 25 owners, he spent an hour on this one that he hasn't even talked to yet. And the guy's advertised on Zillow as for sale by owner.
Okay.
And when I said to him, I said, okay, why that property? Well, it's cheap. Okay. And you've been in Batch Leads? Yeah, it looks good in Batch Leads, but they didn't have the number. Okay. What are the comparable sales in Batch Leads? I don't know. Then how do we know this thing's worth our time? Because it's only $90,000 and it's in New Jersey. Well, Camden's the kind of place where there's mansions and there's shooting galleries. So what I'm saying there, I'm not picking on Alex. I have this a lot that people say, well, it's cheap. The number's right. It feels good. I like the town. Those aren't criteria.
Right.
Those aren't reasons. And when you work through Batch Leads or a tool, Batch Leads, Crexi for Tract IQ for self-storage, you will be able to narrow that list down, like, you know, what they call motivators. So if I, pre-foreclosure, absentee owner, whatever, some sort of a motivator. So, and that will then narrow it down. Like Nair, for you in self-storage mode, and I'll actually log into Tract IQ real quick. I'll turn this back on just to show you sort of some things. I know I did tell you I would show you some ways to search for self-storage. So okay, so self-storage, the first thing I would look at is, let me go back in Tract IQ, and I have not done this in a while. Mark usually does these searches for me. So keep track of my deals, my lists, create.
Yeah, you would go to build prospect.
Yeah, build prospect list. That's what I'm trying to do. Okay, so it's going there.
Well, click it right there. Yeah.
And so let's just say we want to look at North Carolina. See, you actually know better than I do. So let's say we want to look at. Actually, what the hell? We'll go all states just to show you this. Net rentable square feet. This is where you put your criteria. We don't care about NRSF because I'll buy anything. What we do care about is, for me. Okay, so this is where I do not have an objection if you are looking for self-storage in general. You don't have to go by simply my criteria of what I would buy. Okay, so that's not going to work.
Okay.
So you can go at, and okay, so let me just look in North Carolina. Basically, what I'm saying is, come on. All right, whatever. basically what I'm saying is just because it is not something I'm going to buy does not mean, Nair, you shouldn't be calling on it. So like my filter would be under $2 million because that's what I can afford. Now, I don't care if you look in bigger ones and we get listings that are bigger ones. Don't care.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what I was doing. I was like, well, let me keep it in a gray area precision of price, you know.
Exactly. And so I'll have to relearn this before I go mess around here. But basically, what I look for is I want under, if you're searching for markets to look at, and this is okay, so square feet supply per person. And like we've discussed in the year, in self-storage mode, this is a vague answer because the world, okay, the US needs 7 square feet per person on average. That's its historic supply need per person. But up to 10 usually is not a problem, especially if it's an operating facility at a high occupancy rate. Am I going to build a new building in a town that has 10 plus supply? Probably not. Am I going to open a new facility? Probably not. However, then you get your anomalies. You get your super growing markets like Pensacola, Florida. You get your super growing markets like Pensacola. You get your tourism markets. Like I'm trying to think of one that's good. Oh, probably Cape Cod, Massachusetts. During the summer, Cape Cod is full of summer travelers. They have their summer homes. They have their whatever their deal is, their boats, their RVs, their whatever. Then they go home in September. Where do they put their crap? They don't want to leave their patio furniture out. They don't, maybe they don't, whatever. They don't have a place to put their patio furniture. They don't have a place to keep their boat, their RV, their toys. They need to rent self-storage. So that's a market. I don't think Cape Cod may not be, but that's a market where you might have 25 or 30 square feet per person because your off-season population is so low and your on-season population is absurd. So there are times when 25 or 30 bigger square foot matters. But that's one of the search criteria is square foot per person.
Okay.
Lower square foot per person, better. The guy in Texas, I think he had like 3 square foot per person. Great deal. Priced right. Okay, so it wasn't priced right. He wanted 250. The income currently only said 140. But he had lots of room to expand in an area that could probably use some expansion in a growing market. I think it was a suburb of Houston or something. All of those work great. And I was really kind of excited about it because it was near a big road, could have been used for outdoor self-storage, industrial self-storage. But it was in flood zone. It was in the deep blue sea. And that particular deal was awesome in every way, except if he was selling it for what its income was today, I would have bought it. I would not have cared about the flood zone. But because he wanted 100,000 more, literally 50% of his asking price, wasn't the deal for me. Was very likely a deal like for the local person he had. Because the local might say, well, okay, it's in a flood zone, but I know it never practically floods there. That's not a knowledge base I can have.
Right.
So not a lot of square foot per person is one of the criteria. Another bell curve is probably 50,000 income and up. And I'd probably curl that off around 125, 150. Like, do those people at the upper wealthy need or not the upper wealthy, but at the upper comfortable need storage? Yeah, they do. But like I mentioned on the phone, is they might just build a shed. If you're making $150,000, putting up a $2,000 shed, not a big deal for you. Although 150 is certainly not what it used to be, but still. So what that is effectively. So what I'm saying is when you're looking for properties, whether it's residential or self-storage or other things, you've got to be looking for the criteria that makes sense, for the criteria that has good demand. And who's going to be interested in selling? Commercial self-storage is always a conversation to be had. Nobody in business won't sell for the right price. Some people in business are motivated to sell. You've accidentally or not found a bit of a vein on people who are, inheritances. Yeah, they don't want to run dad's 40-unit self-storage facility. Doesn't want to do it. So on the residential side, you're looking at criteria like non-owner occupied, hired landlord. You're looking at questions like vacant. It's another big one. Pre-foreclosure, foreclosure, NOD, call the workout department of the bank, whatever. So there's lots of criteria which we can cover. If you want to go into a different market, on the residential side, let us work with you. And that's where Alex and some other people are missing the boat. Because it's not about, hey, I think Camden's cute. It's not about, I want to be in New Jersey and this $90,000 place in New Jersey sounds cheap for New Jersey. Because remember, there is no state in the country and probably no province in the world where you can generalize what it is. New Jersey has millionaires on the beach. New Jersey has people getting shot in Newark and Camden. New Jersey has apartment buildings. It has business. I mean, it has, like every state does, a little bit of everything. And so you can't generalize that. And you can't even generalize Newark or Camden. We both heard the songs and the stories about Newark and Camden, and they're both got areas that you want to get the hell out of. But they've also got some areas that are pretty freaking awesome. And when you go into a new market, you also want to understand things like, I don't know if Newark still does it, but they were selling houses for $1 that the government owned and just needed somebody to take it over and fix it.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Now, exactly. And I doubt they're still doing that, but maybe. But the point is, you want to know a market. And I know people who know every market across the country. So it's kind of like, if you want to go somewhere different, talk to me about it. Let's figure it out. And Alex's reaction was, wait, I have to get permission. I said, no, you're an independent contractor. But right now, you haven't locked on that niche that works for you. And the challenge is that you've got to follow a little bit of the recipe. And when you're in batch leads, which my old computer literally crapped out this morning, so I'm on a backup computer. I don't have my batch leads login. But when you're in batch leads and you're looking up a property, hit the comps button. Even if you don't filter it and clean up the filters, at least you can start seeing, things are selling. This place, the guy is listed on Zillow for 90, and the best house in his neighborhood sells for 120.
Yeah.
Maybe his house for 90 ain't such the bargain. Or he's listed it for 90 and everything else is listed for a lot more. Whatever.
Did he say he was doing FSBOs? Or
what?
Did Alex say he was doing for sale by owners, or was he
doing? Honestly, it got a little unclear. It got a little bit unclear.
I can help him.
Yeah.
I can help him, but when you're dealing with, and this is for everybody, when you're dealing with residential, you have to really evaluate the area. Especially I'm not saying Zillow is a crappy place because even when I first started wholesaling, my first deal did come from Zillow, but that was like a needle in a haystack. I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you how I came across it. I just saw it and it was a FSBO. But if you go into Zillow expecting that it's going to be easy, like Steve was saying, you're going to need to, the whole goal is whatever that they're putting it out there as, our job, we would have to sell it for more than what they're putting it out there as. And nobody's really going to do that. And trust me, I get it. I used to, as he could tell you, I used to do it all the time when we first started out together. I was like, you know what? That's when I realized it's a lot, and plus it's a lot big more. It's intricate work when you're doing single family residential because you're dealing with emotions and you're dealing with people's time, and you don't want to waste your time not only dealing with people's emotions but spending an hour on something that 9 times out of 10 won't go nowhere because you have to negotiate them down in order to get it under contract. And when they have it at a price that they're set at on Zillow, 9 times out of 10 they're not going to do it. So it's like it'd be a waste of time. So your best bet is to do batch leads and prop stream. Like it's tedious work, but it works better than Zillow. Trust me. Trust and believe.
Yeah, and that's really what's important. And really, what this whole thing comes down to, guys, is not picking on Alex or anybody else. It's totally comes down to what's going to work. And if you're not using a tool like Batch Leads or PropStream or PropWire or TrackIQ for self-storage or whatever, blah, blah, you're not going through the tools and you're not using the tools for what they can do. And also, by the way, Zillow has totally inflated ideas of what things are worth. So the recipe is, number one, we have data. You want to make phone calls? We have data. Go ahead and make phone calls. We love it. Make some phone calls. We have data for Pennsylvania and a little bit of Eastern Ohio. So no problem. We can give you phone lists. We can give you the ability to dial. I've shown you guys on videos before how to dial within Batch Leads or whatever. If you want to go to a different market, that's fine. But, like Nair and I talked when he first came on board was, and I get the logic, but one day was Nashville, one day was Texas, one day was Ohio. Okay, why? Well, somebody was advertising something. No. It's like all those places are one, or a couple of them were on my top 25 rental markets across the country. Yeah, but now let's research them and do them the other way. It comes down to following the recipe. It comes down to if you're going to research someone before you call them, which is kind of backwards. But if that's what you're going to do, then research them, know the market, know what the comps are. So when you're on the phone, you have an idea. Anyway, so it comes down to work in the recipe. Now, Nair, on the one, so this is Pensacola, Florida. This is one that Mark sent over. It was a broker sent over to us.
Okay.
And this is self-storage. And self-storage is a totally different game in how things are analyzed. So this one is operational. We have management reports. And the software seems to not be catching what's there because I have like 14 different documents from this. So like I know this stuff is here. And that's why I think there's still a problem with this particular analyzer or this particular analysis, and I have to look at it more deeply. But for example, let me just show you what the facility is. And this is a professional broker listed property. Now, first thing I see, they got some sort of commercial building, which I think is rented out in like sections or something. And we got some drive up units. Okay, cool. We got all this land back here, which is haphazardly used for vehicle storage. Which is maybe the right choice for what it is. Now, what I didn't do is I didn't run flood zone for the property, which would definitely be, especially in Florida, a very helpful thing to do.
Yeah. I got to keep reminding myself of that as well.
Yeah. So and this is why, and I am trying to finish the AI tool, which will automatically, you'll put in what you know and it'll do the rest of the work for you, but that'll be a little while because. But anyway, so we're resolving it, and actually, shockingly enough, we'll give us a couple more minutes, but it has no colors, so it's probably not in a flood zone. And the reason I zoomed out, and I'm zooming in a little bit, is I'm trying to play with it so where it shows me what is a flood zone. Now, the fact that it resolved these lines, Pensacola might not even be. I mean, I'd be shocked, but it may not even be a flood zone. But at this moment, it's not showing me to be a flood zone. Okay, great. So that's good. That's good knowledge. So we have this. They want 950. Now we slide down, and the market overview, by the way, we've already run. And now you're on what you did, and I didn't look. I was too tired last night. I didn't look at which one you did, but you only had one of the two. So what you do when you put in an address is it pops open that address, and then you'll pick this over here, and you'll hit Analyze Deal, and it'll open that window.
Right.
and then you PDF this and you wait. It's slow, and that's probably the thing you didn't do, because I didn't notice it at first. You got to wait for this to do its thing, and it'll eventually download. Then boom, there it is. Then you go back here and you switch it to radius. You go from drive time to radius,
Okay.
and then you do it again, and it opens another window.
So two separate times.
Two totally separate games, right?
Okay.
So this is and that's just learning Tracked IQ, and that gives you two different reports. And within the reports, we won't look at Mobile Alabama right now. We'll look at on this new computer. Where the hell is my control button? Oh, there's no control button on the left side. That sucks. Okay. And within those reports, come on. Lots of stuff is here. All the other facilities and what the facilities do. So 5 minutes of driving, there's 9 self-storage facilities, and there's 9.86 square foot per capita, 14 and 11. Okay, so not great, but it's an operational facility. So okay, fine. Current total population, not bad. It's growing at a pretty good clip. The population is. You guys can see this, right? Yeah. Okay. Fine. Current households, 5 years. So it's projected to go up quite a bit. Or maybe not quite a bit, a little bit. And you got income numbers. So the income's a little shy. Pensacola is not a wealthy market. Back 30 years ago, my wife actually voice tracked for a radio station in Pensacola, which means we were in super northern New York, and she would record them and send them down to wherever the fuck it was in Pensacola. So very much a Northeast PA type of small market, just happens to be in Florida. Moderate household income. These are okay numbers. The one thing when you get these lower numbers, and again, you've got an increase projected. Increase projected is always good. But these people without a lot of money, and I don't mean on a household level so much as on a personal level, they're storing what they need, not what they want. They're not going out and buying a boat for 20 grand if they're only making 30 grand a year. They might have a boat, but it's not whatever. And also percentage of renters is in here somewhere. How many renters? I forget where that is, but basically you're looking for about a third, ideally a third of the population of tenants. Again, not a rule, but tenants have less place to store shit than somebody who has a yard. No tenant is going to go out and buy a shed. So here's where it gives you all the climate controlled and non-climate controlled comparative analysis kind of thing. What's everyone else charging compared to what you're charging? Rate trends. What are the rate trends in the market? So this Tracked IQ gives a lot of stuff. And they skip giving us financials because they give us a whole freaking folder on financials. Lots of data on population. Now, what we also have on this particular facility is we have the barbershop lease, church lease, fine. Management summary. We'll use 2025 tax doc. Oh, that's the property tax. Sorry, that's not going to help us. Storage report. Oh, sorry. Never mind. Where's management summary? All right. So this is report for January. So its total month to date is $5,000 a month. Now, what's interesting on this one is it gave on the actual post. So it's 10,000 square foot of rentable space, below market rents. Attractive location. I'm trying to find if he gave in his write up. He didn't. He didn't give a quick. Usually they'll give a quick cap rate information or NOI, $85,000 a year. So he's saying his net operating income is $90,000 a year, which tells me because only 4,000 of that comes from his storage, tells me he's making a lot of money off the commercial over here, which is okay, but it does create some complications when you go to get loans, because self-storage loans are different from other people's loans. Whatever. His occupancy is 67%. And there's two occupancies. There's 3 occupancies here. His economic occupancy is less than his, so 66% of his units are full, 79% of his square feet are full, but only 62% of his square feet are paying. So there's a little bit of a delinquency issue going on there, which is fine. For the right price, that is fine. So anyway, just to kind of jump to the end here, at 85,000 net, it looks like a no-brainer on buying it for 920, assuming NOI is what is after your expenses. But you have to examine it a little further, because if you're looking at monthly revenue of 4,600, you're having 45,000 on the storage revenue. Everything has to be dug into more. So I don't want to go too deep into this specific deal, but this is the kind of stuff that we look at when we look at these kinds of facilities. And this is what the analyzer is learning to do. So the analyzer said, based on this deal, that if he does a seller finance, so the annual debt service is $48,000 a year, but he only grosses about that on the self-storage. So it would need a little bit of help to it would need a little bit of help from the commercial side to be a viable deal. And this is where this is going to be a little bit more complicated of a deal to analyze. Now, the one Nair sent over yesterday,
that one, the Grand Bay, Alabama.
Okay, so what's the Walnut one? Oh, we already did the Walnut one?
Yeah, that was the lady. That was the lady that you said that we might have to list since she won't see reason.
Okay, so we should probably give her a call later and come up with something. But so this one in Alabama, Grand Bay, Alabama, and I think I ran this, didn't I? Did I do a? I'll rerun it again just to show you guys how this tool works. So this one's all self-storage. So we use our same tool, which is already on the REI homepage website. And it's, again, none of these tools, you saw how I'm not crazy about how it ran that mixed use one. I forget what it is. Because I'm on my new computer, so it hasn't figured that out yet. All right, so I thought I downloaded that site report. Report. Oh, because I'm in the subfolder. Duh, that's just stupid. For some reason, it still glitches and asks to upload it twice, but whatever. And it immediately starts uploading the files. So it's going to read the files. Unfortunately, whatever the report did for me yesterday, it is on my old computer. That was Texas. All right, anyway, let's finish running. Extraction complete, so you have to wait for it to extract the files and then you're going to run the storage analysis. And see, it's pulled everything out of the tracked IQ data into text. So it's read that, and it's read what we gave it up here as well.
Right.
And what these eventually will do, haven't done it yet, is as soon as you finish analysis, it automatically emails us the analysis, all of us, including you putting your email in on top. And it also stores it into a Google Sheets and it stores it into a Google Drive. So that we have a sheets for everything that's been submitted. We have copies of everything that's been submitted, sent to the right people. So residential sent to me and Ryan. Self-storage sent to me and Mark. And then it runs like that. And there we go. So what this says is that this property, we know this guy still needs to get us more information. Because you'll see right away,
Yep.
boom. So repair estimate, it's kind of taking a blind guess because it doesn't have anything to go off of. But it will also generate an inspection report as well. Gross annual rent, seller stated 12,000. Okay, that's a third. That's respectable. Boom. Applied expenses. We applied actually our 35% expenses. So it has 23,500. Now, what did he want for this one? 250.
Well, he said he was negotiating like a few years ago with somebody, and they was talking 450. But he says he's negotiable. We could start there and negotiate.
All right. He's gonna have to negotiate a little bit.
That's what I'm saying. Like until he sends me the other information. So
Yeah. So we basically, this says okay.
Because it wasn't
only. What?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just saying because he wasn't like firm on it. He was like, listen, I just don't know where to start. I'm just telling you what I remember when I first was presented with an offer. That's what we were talking about. So we can start there and then see what we can come up with. I'm open to negotiations. He's like, he just said that he doesn't want to deal with two of them anymore. So.
And he's going to have to kind of be negotiable because if these are his numbers, I can't pay a loan of $450 on $23,000.
Right.
So what happens here is 36,000 is gross, 12,000 is the average 35% pad, leaves 23.4. Then I get to divide 23.4 divided by 1.25, debt service coverage ratio, 1.25. Now, if he's way under market on his rents, if he's got some other growth reason why there's a reason to care more, then we might go overboard. If there's like Pensacola, there's a lot of land to build. Maybe there's something else to be done there. But just on what he's making, if I show this to a bank without a better backstory, and even with a better backstory, I'm writing the check till the better backstory happens. I can promise a bank whatever they want, but they still want their fucking money. 23.4, 1.25. A bank wants you to be making 0.25 more than you're spending on the mortgage. So I have 18,000, which means blah 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 monthly payment factual loan constraint. But basically, my annual mortgage payment can't be more than 18 grand. So my mortgage payment is this. So if my mortgage payment can afford 215, and I'm at 75% loan to value, I can afford 287. Now, this is why we want to know the growth potential.
Now he did say it was like room to like put RV parking and all that. He said it's on a lot of land. So
Right, but then which is great. But then we go flip to, is there demand for that there? Which there might be. I don't know. But yeah, so and that's why just like the guy in Texas, you know, there was probably demand to do RV parking or do more storage or whatever. You know, so it might be, and that's where you get into the dance of Texas. He wanted $250,000. He could only afford 150. Am I willing to go an extra 100 for the potential? Maybe. You know, that was a pretty good location, pretty good a lot of things, and it was only $100,000. It wouldn't have changed my payment by that much. Am I going to go from 287 to 450? There better be a real freaking good story there. You know, and so basically, so roughly, when he gets more, and do follow up with him, because when he gets more information to us, there might be something in here. Now, what I'm going to store track for, okay, so and here's the thing. Within 15 minutes, it's 6.5 per capita, which isn't bad, but isn't really where, without knowing more about the market, isn't really where, oh my God, this needs more. This is where it could use some more, or it could be maybe there's no room for more in the market. And this is also where you do things like you go into to software and you say, oh, not that one. And again, same thing. First thing we should have done was run flood zone.
yeah.
Nope. See, there's your blue. He's nowhere near it. And this is also a good time to sort of, okay, what's around him? This gives you almost like the Google Maps view. All right, so he's not exactly in a rooftops. You know, he's not exactly surrounded by dense rooftops. He's not exactly on a major thoroughfare. Not bad, just what it is. I mean, he's actually on a not bad road. I can see yellow in the middle, so he's got some pretty good for the county. So you're just learning a lot about it. You also then do it, just so you know, when I'm saying you do this does not mean that you do it as part of throwing it over to me, but this is also at the same time like just to look around. Now, also what you want to do is you want to look at, if you're doing this, are there any other self-storage facilities nearby? And you can search self-storage near me and whatever. All right, there's some sort of a body of water there, a little lake it looks like, but I don't see anything else that jumps out at me as a self-storage facility. Meaning competitors I want to look at that might not be on TractIQ or things I want to buy. Normal drive-up self-storage are really obvious. They look like that. Google never went there. We would have the window over here if they did. So we can't see it from a street view. Don't know what the fuck that is. So we would need to know more about whether it is worth expanding, whether it reaches a number. So if you want to follow up with them, we'll set a time to chat with them and get the rest of the information. And just be like, and on the call we can say, hey, listen, we've done a little look in your neighborhood. You know, seems like you're making about this and verifying about that. You know, we get some of the information. We'll go from there.
Okay, we'll do.
All right, cool. All right, any other questions?
Oh, that's about it, really.
All right, sounds good. And if you want to set a time to call that other lady, let me know, and we'll do that too.
Okay.
All right, thanks. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.